on to the lesson portion. Today, we're going to have the secret rock progression and game. The secret rock progression and game. Let me show you this. Okay, here's the piece of paper. I would say copy this as close to what you see on this paper as you can. And hopefully I'm holding it steady enough. Okay, I tried to make it look like a big robot face. For fun. Okay, assuming you have that copied now. What you see on the very top is, it says 1, 4, and 5, circled in green. I circled it in green. And next to it, it says the same thing. It says 1, 4, and 5, but it says it in Roman numerals. The reason why I wrote it both ways is because when musicians talk about it, they will say 1, 4, 5, but when they write it down, they tend to write it in Roman numerals. So I, IV, V. That's 1, 4, and 5. And if you ever see that type of writing in music, this is what they're talking about. Okay. I drew the keyboard with an example of a 1, a 4, and a 5 as C major, F major, and G major. And by the way, at the bottom of your paper, it says always all major chords, and that is a fact. This is always all major chords. So we're looking at C major, F major, and G major. Now, the reason that we care is almost every single rock song on the planet is either exactly this or maybe has one additional chord added to this to kind of reflavor it, but it's super common. How many times have you heard a song in a rock song go like this? Or maybe something like this. Let's see. Summer lovin' had me a blast. Summer lovin' happened so fast. It just comes up over and over again, and even in modern rock. So when we're looking at these keys on the piano, as we have it marked down on the paper, the C is the 1 chord, the F is the 4 chord, and the G is the 5 chord. Now let me explain. If I'm looking at a C major scale, which is every white key from C to C, from C to shining C. I don't know why I never thought of that joke before. It's pretty funny. We will often think of these as numbered. Here's the C scale. The first note of it is 1. There's 2, there's 3, ding, 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 there's 4, and ding, 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 there's 5. And then the 6, the 7, and the 8. And the 8 we call octave. 8, octo means 8, like octopus has 8 legs. That's why they call it an octave. So this is the 1, that's the 4, and that's the 5. And I can make all 3 of these simply into chords. The 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord. It's very easy to spot this in the key of C. Now, I'm going to share some rules with you because we're about to play this as a game. The game gets harder and harder, and it's difficult to win. But it's a good idea to at least have an idea what I am about to show you, because musicians do talk like this. They get together, for a jam and they say, oh, yeah, let's do this song. It's a 1, 4, 5 in the key of C. Well, you just saw the 1 in the key of C. That would be C, the 1, and it's 4 and it's 5, F and G. So C, F, and G, that's the chords in the song that they're about to play. A lot of times they won't tell you the chords in the song. They'll just say it's a 1, 4, 5. And a lot of songs are 1, 4, 5s. But what if it's not a C? Okay. one thing that we know from this piece of paper that you were just looking at here is underneath the C, I put a bracket here on the way to the F, and it says 5 half steps. And then I put another bracket on the way to the F to the G, and it says 2 half steps. Well, that's always the distance. If you're counting, you will never get a 1-4-5 wrong. There's actually even an easier way to do what you just saw. But that is a guarantee that the one, if I count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's my 4. And then if I count up another 2, that's my 5. Always, always, always. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask you, what if we were starting on a D? What would the 1 and the 4 and the 5 be? Now, during this game, you can pause the video, figure out the answer as best you can, and then resume the video where I will give you the answer. You can do that now, or you can let it just run because I'll give you this as an example. The first one's free. Here's D. That's my new 1 because now I'm in the key of D. D is the 1. And I will count up 5 half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'll give me the 4 chord, which is a G. And then plus 2 more, which gives me A, D, G, and A is the answer to the question, what is the 1-4-5 in the key of D? D, G, A. Now, if I was actually going to play this, here's where it comes important that you look at the bottom of the piece of paper. It's always all major chords. Always. That means my D, don't play D minor, especially you, Cheryl. I got my eye on you. It's major. I know Brookie probably automatically got the F sharp in there. That's my 1. My 4 chord was a G, it's major. And my A chord would be major as well. And now, even though I'm starting on a D, I can start playing these exact same sounding rock songs using a D to begin with. Okay. Here comes game 1, the legit game 1. Pause the video and then restart it. Key of E. That's the 1. What is the 4 and the 5? I shall wait. And we're back. The 1 was E. The 4 and the 5 would have to been A and B. Well, how do we know? Well, we went up 5 half steps and then an additional 2. But can you play it? Well, an E chord, and it has to be major. An A chord, it has to be major. And a B chord, and it has to be major. And don't let that B throw you. B is 2 black keys on top. Why? Well, you know how to count out a major chord, and whenever you hear B, you're supposed to panic. So, in the key of E, 1-4-5 would be E major, A major, and B major. And since I know that, now I can play all the rock songs that are 1-4-5, but now in the key of E. Okay. Be ready to pause the video. I'm going to give you one more simple one, and then they're going to start getting a little bit harder. The E one was a little bit tricky. This one's actually not so bad. Key of G. Pause the video, please. And we're back. I asked for key of G, and if you identified what the 4 and the 5 are, we know G is the 1 now. The answer should be C and D. If you had C and D, you are correct. And can you play all 3 of them as major chords? G major, C major, and D major. And I should be able to play any song that sounds like a 1-4-5. Okay. Be ready to pause the video. Here comes one more quiz. It's going to get a little bit tougher. Key of A. And we're back. The question was key of A. If you guessed that the 4 and the 5 must be D and E, you would be correct. And they all need to be played as major chords. And every single one of these is going to have a black key in the middle. The 1 chord, A. The black chord, the black key in the middle of the D, that's the 4 chord. And a black key in the middle of the E, that's the 5 chord. If I were to play 1, 4, 5, okay, it's about to get a little bit trickier. I would say if you're not entirely sure about how this is going so far, please rewind the video and restart it and review. And we're back. Okay, here it's about to start getting a little bit harder. The next one we're going to do is going to be the key of F. F. Pause the video. And we're back. The question was key of F. That must be the 1. What is the 4 and the 5? And if you answered B flat and C, you would have been correct. If you got B somehow, it looks like a 4th degree, but you didn't count the half steps as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which should have landed you on the B flat. That's why I said this is a tricky one. Your eyes would tell you it's a B, but the math will tell you it's B flat. Now, can you play all 3 of these as major chords? F chord. The B flat chord we don't normally see in first inversion. There it is, B flat, D, and F. How do I know? Well, if I'm trying to play a B flat major chord, it should be root plus 4 plus 3. And if I count that out as root plus 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 1, 2, 3, that's how I end up with B flat, D, and F. That's the 4 chord. And the 5 chord, just a C, C chord. So if I try to play this off of the 1, 4, 5 progression, we now have this. Okay. I'm going to leave you with one more hard one, and I'm not going to give you the answer. What I want you to do is try to figure out what the chords are. And once you know what the chords are, you know they're all major chords, make sure that you're playing every single chord as a major chord. And if you can make it sound like that rock and roll song that we're playing, you'll be right where you need to be to do this. And again, I'm not going to give you the answer. B. That's the 1. So the question is, if this is the 1, what's the 4 chord and what's the 5 chord? And how can you play them as majors? And I'm not going to put it in the video because what I would like you to do, if you don't mind, when you know the answer, text me. Just shoot me a text. Then I'll know you were able to figure it out. It is a little on the tricky side, so count carefully and listen very carefully when you play it. If it sounds like, like that song from Grease or any of these other classic rock and roll songs, or like American Band is a 1, 4, 5 progression. So many great rock songs are built like this. When you think you know the answer, if it sounds right to you, shoot me a text. All right, guys. Hope you're feeling more better. I hope I do get to see you guys next week. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.